जय जय राम ओम श्री राम जय राम जय जय राम ओम श्री राम जय जय राम ओम राम जय जय राम ओम श्री 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 राम जय जय राम ओम। Hari Om, pranams to you all, Hari Om. So we were going through the slokas on peace from Srimad Bhagavad Gita. Chapter number 5, sloka number 29. Chapter number 5. भोक्तारं यज्ञतपसां सर्वलोकमहेश्वरं सुहृदं सर्वभूतानां नात्वा मां शान्तिमृच्छति. This is the sloka number 29 in 5th chapter. So here the Lord says, knowing me as the receiver and dispenser of the fruits of sacrifices and spiritual practices, as the great Lord of all the worlds, and as the friend of all beings, one attains peace. Sri Krishna is telling this as the incarnation of about which he had said in the 4th chapter. Know me as Bhoktaram Yajna Tapasam, receiver and dispenser of the fruits of whatever sacrifices and spiritual austerities are done. Ultimately, these reach him, the one ultimate reality, Sarvaloka Maheshwaram, the Lord of all this universe, the one infinite divine behind this universe. So similarly, a third characteristic, which is the most important, Suhrudam Sarva Bhutana. 1 second. 5th chapter. Suhrudam Sarvabhutanam, the friend of all beings. So God is described here as the friend of all beings. No cause for fear. The god of fear vanished from Indian religion long, long ago. In its place came the god of love, and therefore Sri Krishna said, I am the friend of all. Knowing me as such, a person attains peace. Mam Shanti Mruchati. So this is a very beautiful verse centered in bhakti or pure love. Bhakti to the personal aspect of the impersonal personal God of Vedanta. Bhakti to the personal aspect of impersonal personal God of Vedanta. This bhakti will become the theme of the 7th and other chapters. It has just come as an introduction here. Know me as the friend of all beings. What a beautiful conception. We are limited in our energies, but there is one unlimited energy behind us. We can always draw upon that energy. Just like a small bank, if too many people rush to that bank to withdraw their deposits, the bank will fail. But if it has the reserve bank behind it, it has nothing to fear. Similarly, in our human life, with all our weaknesses, if we have that intense faith that there is an infinite reality behind this universe, behind me, closest to me, and is my friend, my own inner self, ever ready to help me, we can get peace and freedom from tension. So behind me, behind this universe, closest to me, and is my friend, my own inner self. My own inner self is my friend, ever ready to help me. Then we can get peace and freedom from tension. In this world of tension, today we have to, as one of the Western writers said, if there is no God, we have to invent one. He is needed today. Have the tremendous faith in the divine. But here you have not to invent. Our philosophy tells you there is a reality behind this changing universe. There is a reality behind this changing universe. It is a vastu, a reality. He is our own self, the self of all beings. That is our true nature. Tattvamasi. Tattvamasi means that. You are that. Now, the truth is dawning on the minds of many more scientists today. Great thinkers, they feel that they cannot explain this universe without reference to an ultimate principle of consciousness. Even the scientists are also accepting. Great thinkers, they feel that they cannot explain this universe without reference to an ultimate principle of consciousness. They are also agreeing. That is coming more and more into modern thought. It will lead them to what Vedanta has described as that Satchidananda. Satchidananda Swarupa Paramatma. The infinite self of the nature of existence, knowledge and bliss. The infinite self of the nature of existence, knowledge and bliss. Absolute. Whatever bliss we enjoy is only a particle of that bliss of the divine. Whatever we are enjoying, it is only a particle of it. of the divine, that is infinite in dimension. And so we can participate in the life divine, and by doing so, we enrich ourselves. We become better and better. Today, the stress is therefore on how to get qualitatively richer within. How to get qualitatively richer within ourselves. Quantity has been the whole theme of modern scientific thought and modern industrial civilization. Now there is a great need expressed by great thinkers in the West to bring in the concept of quality. What is the quality of your life? What is the quality of your life? Are you peaceful? Are you happy? Can you live peacefully with others without strife, without tension? What is the quality of your life? Are you peaceful? Are you happy? Can you live peacefully with others without strife, without tension? All these questions of quality are becoming more and more prominent. And it is that quality aspect that comes by believing in this divine reality behind the universe, who is a divine person. And because you are a person, God appears to you as a person, and He can respond. So, in philosophy, we speak of an ultimate reality, but in spiritual life, we speak of an intimate reality. In philosophy, we speak of an ultimate reality, but in spiritual life, we speak of an intimate reality. That is ultimate. This is intimate. So, Bhakti makes this divine reality intimate to us. He is one with us. He is not far away. He is here. So, in the Upanishads, this language is used. Enigmatic, paradoxical language. God is far away, God is near, nearest of the near. He is small, He is big. All this language you will find. Beyond the limitation of space, no language of big and small, distant or near, can stand with regard to that reality. Because it is only within spatial limitation that we can use these expressions. He is beyond space and time, the infinite, the immortal. That is our true nature. What is our true nature? Our true nature is immortal, infinite. It is beyond the space. That is our true nature. He is the self of our self. He is the thread that runs through all of us, like the thread that unites a garland of flowers. He is the self of ourself. In a garland, no thread will be there, no? One thread. All flowers are made into garland. That language Sri Krishna is using in the 7th chapter. That He is the thread that unites all beings into a unity. The more you touch that thread, the more firm, the more strong, the more peaceful you will be. Mayi sarvam idam protam sutre manigana iva. We shall study this in the coming chapters. All this universe is threaded in me like so many pearls in one garland. Pearls are different, but they become one in the garland because of the thread. The thread of being is the divine in me, in all. So one subtle mysterious power is expressing through all names and forms. One power. So based upon this chapter, the 5th chapter spoke of the feeling of equality. We are equal. Brahman is equal. We are also equal. The presence of Brahman in you and in me, in the highest and the lowest, is always a unit. There is no fraction of the unit. Therefore, equality is the great ideal of human progress and development. Equality is the great ideal of human progress and development. Based upon seeing the same divine in all, its fullness in every being. Therefore, equality is the great ideal of human progress and development, based upon seeing the same divine in all its fullness in every being. Papa says God is the subtle, mysterious power. He is expressing through all names and forms equally, perfectly in all, maybe the small, big. Therefore, equality is the great ideal of human progress and development, based upon seeing the same divine in all its fullness in every being. So we have already expressed that idea in verses 18 and 19, idea of samam, samatva, the feeling of equality, of sameness. We are one, we are one, we are one. The senses reveal differences, but deep down, when you begin to think and investigate, you are unity. Live in that awareness. It is that idea that Sri Krishna expresses here again as God, who is the friend of all. He is our own inner self, nearer to us than anything else. There is a sentence in the Quran where Prophet Muhammad says, God is nearer to you than the veins in your neck. So near to us is He. That is the concept of the divine in great philosophies and religions. So in the 5th chapter, we find the whole teaching ending with this wonderful note of assurance. Bhoktaram, Yagnatapasam, Sarvaloka Maheshwaram, Suhrudam Sarvabhutanam Gnatva Mam Shantim Ruchyati. So one unit, one divine power is expressing through all. Only one is there. Equality is the great ideal of human progress and development, based upon seeing the same divine in all its fullness in every being. Its fullness in every being, one unit. Papa says in quest of God, no? One power, one unit, unity. So Papa in introduction itself, he says in the inquest of God, O Ram, the truth, the love, the goal of human perfection, all hail, all hail. It was about 2 years ago in 1920 that Ram first kindled in the heart of his humble slave Ramdas a keen desire to realize his infinite love. To strive to approach and understand Ram is to recede from the world of vanishing forms, because Ram is the only truth, the only reality. Ram is a subtle and mysterious power that pervades and sustains the whole universe. Birthless and deathless is He. He is present in all things and in all creatures who only appear as separate entities due to their ever-changing forms. To wake up from this illusion of forms is to realize at once the unity or love of Ram, the unity or love of Ram. Love of Ram means love of all beings, all creatures, all things in this world, because Ram is in all and all is in Ram, and Ram is all in all. To realize this great truth, we who through ignorance feel as separate individuals should submit ourselves to the will and working of that infinite power, the infinite love Ram, who is one and all pervading. By a complete surrender to the will of Ram, we lose consciousness of the body, which keeps us aloof from him, and find ourselves in a state of complete identification and union with Ram, who is in us and everywhere around us. In this condition, hatred, which means consciousness of diversity, ceases, and love, consciousness of unity, is realized. This divine love can be attained by humbling ourselves to such a degree as to totally subdue our egoism, our self-assertion as a separate individual existence. Having reached this stage, we, by the awakened consciousness of unity or love, are naturally prompted to sacrifice all the interests that concern the body for the welfare of our fellow men and fellow creatures, who are all manifestations of the same Ram. This was the great sacrifice of Buddha, of Jesus Christ, and has been of Mahatma Gandhi in our own times. These three great men are the fullest manifestations of Ram, the great truth, the infinite love, Om Shri Ram. So Papa also mentions it is one divine power. So sense of otherness sets limits to illimitable. That is what Papa says. So we should feel we are one. Next is, what is the sloka number? 6th chapter, 7th sloka. Chapter number 6. Sloka number 7. जितात्मनः प्रशान्तस्य परमात्मा समाहितः शीतोष्णसुखदुःखेषु तथा मानापमानयोः. This is 6th chapter, 7th sloka. To the self-controlled and serene person, the Supreme Self is the object of constant realization. In cold and heat, pleasure and pain, as well as in honor and dishonor. Jitatmanaha. Whoever has conquered one's own inner energies, Atman, sometimes means the body, sometimes sense organs or the mind, and sometimes used in its own sense, namely the infinite self. So the body also is Atman. So far as the chair is concerned, the body is the Atman, which sits on the chair, which is the Anatman, not self or object. So from the body onwards, Vedanta uses the word Atman to denote various constituents of personality, which are subjects in one context and objects in another context. But really, the pure self is the real Atman, the self within the self, the self within the self, the immortal divine self, the one in all, always the subject and never the object. That real self is only subject. It is never an object. So in order to characterize it, there is another word, Paramatman, the Supreme Self. The word Atman is enough, but sometimes Paramatman, the Supreme Self, is used. From various levels we understand the truth, and so from a lower level if you understand the Atman, then the real Atman will be Paramatman, the Supreme Self, the Divine itself. So Jitatmanaha, he who has conquered the Atman. What is this Atman? The body, the sensory system, the Manas. These constitute the Atman in this context. Jitatmanaha, of one who conquers oneself by disciplining oneself. Prashantasya, of the tranquil person. Out of the disciplining will come and tranquility, real peace. Peacelessness of the self is at the sensory level, at the mental level. Above that everything is full of peace. So we have to concentrate at this level to discipline these energies. Then you will become tranquil. Paramatma samahitaha sitoshna sukadikheshu tada manapamanayohu. Paramatma samahitaha. Such a one becomes fully established and concentrated in the Paramatman, the Supreme Self. By this method only we can achieve the Supreme Self. When there is a chaotic inner life, we cannot have the experience of the Atman. This is a very beautiful idea. So what we have to do? We have to discipline our senses. We need to control, then only it is possible, otherwise it is not. By this method only we can achieve the Supreme Self. When there is a chaotic inner life, we cannot have the experience of the Atman. This is a very beautiful idea. So, Sitoshna Sukha Dukkheshu Tadha Manapa Manayoho. The mind remains steady all the time, even amidst the various changing aspects of our daily life. If we can control that senses, if we are able to master it, then he says the mind will study. It will not move. Though so many things are going on, various changing aspects of our daily life is going on, but still the mind will be steady. Like cold, heat, happiness and sorrow, honor and dishonor, in all conditions it will be steady. It won't move. So the external events are impinging upon us all the time, but the inner mind remains serene. External things may be jumping, so many things are happening around us, but inner mind remains serene, tranquil, peaceful. That is the meaning of the word prashantasya. When you are prashantaha, you don't mind whether you are honored or dishonored. When we are shantam, prashant, then whatever is happening doesn't matter. When you are prashantaha, you don't mind whether you are honored or dishonored, whether it is cold or heat, whether it is happiness or sorrow. That is the fruit of yoga. Yoga alone gives a man or woman freedom. We are not free now. We are subject to nature's pressure. But when you take to yoga, you slowly experience, yes, I am free, I am free. I will not be at the dictate of the external forces. This is a profound truth which in the modern age is very much needed. We are so much controlled, directed, conditioned by the external forces. We are so much controlled, directed, conditioned by the external forces. We have lost our own inner integrity of the self. We have lost our own inner integrity of the self. Therefore, yoga is very important for every human being. And fortunately today, people all over the world are pursuing this subject interestingly. So here also says control of the senses. Only when we discipline, we will be able to experience the inner peace. It is possible, otherwise it is not. Then 6.15, sixth chapter only, 15th sloka. Sloka number 15, chapter number 6. युञ्जन्नेवं सदात्मानं योगी नियतमानसः शान्तिं निर्वाणपरमां संस्थामधिगच्छति. Thus, always keeping the mind steadfast, the yogi of subdued mind attains the peace residing in me, the peace which culminates in nirvana, moksha. Thus, always keeping the mind steadfast, the yogi of subdued mind attains the peace residing in me, the peace which culminates in nirvana, moksha. Keeping the mind steadfast without any movement. The yogi of subdued mind, whoever has subdued the mind, means controlled the mind, attains the peace residing in me. Me means that capital M, me, the self. The peace which culminates in nirvana, moksha. Yunjannevam. Thus practicing yoga, sada, always. Atmanam, using oneself as a great instrument to achieve the spiritual development through yoga. By doing what? Nityam, Nitya Manasaha, Nityat Manasaha, with disciplined mind. With disciplined mind, you achieve Shantam. With disciplined mind, you achieve Shantam, great peace. What is that peace? Nirvana Paramam, peace that will lead you to Nirvana, complete spiritual realization, transcending this world of duality and relativity. That is called Nirvana. So what is they are trying to tell is mind, no? When it is completely controlled, then spiritual development through yoga will be attained. What is that peace? Nirvana Paramam, peace that will lead you to Nirvana, complete spiritual realization, transcending this world of duality and relativity. That is called Nirvana. When all this relativity is transcended, in that state which was achieved by Buddha and achieved by many great sages, one gets peace. Nirvana Paramam Shantim, Shanti that comes out of that Nirvana, Mat Samastam. That state of being established in me. In me means the self. One realizes one's fullness. So, Mat Samstam Adhigachati. One achieves that state. This is a brief description of the yoga practice from the beginning, preparing a seed, studying one's body and mind, and then going deeper. All outlined in a short statement of few verses. Now, certain directions are given if you want to achieve success in this path. Our country has seen people doing all sorts of austerities, like fasting for a long time, standing in one leg in the hot sun, etc. Even Christian mystics in the early period have done a lot of such austerities, and the greatest teachers have said that these are useless and meaningless. There have been Christian mystics who have constantly beaten their body with sticks just to go beyond body consciousness. But the greatest teachers never allowed this kind of senseless physical mortifications. So a serene attitude in spiritual life has to come through yoga. Swami Samartha Ramdas, he used to do japa standing in the water. Early morning, 3, 4 o'clock, something like that. He used to go up to here, water. He will go stand there in the river, Ganges or something. Then he used to do japa. Even Shivananda also used to do, Shivananda Swami, austerities and standing on one leg. We must have heard, so many Maharishis, Mahatmas, they have done tapasya like that. So nowadays in modern this thing, they won't advise all those things. Simple yoga is advised. So a serene attitude in spiritual life has to come through yoga. It came through Buddha. He also did a lot of mortification like fasting and became very weak. And then after taking food given by a girl, Sujata, he sat in meditation to realize the truth. He sat in meditation to realize the truth. So ultimately we find in Buddha's address to his disciples, I found in the beginning everybody was undergoing physical mortification. I too fasted for long. And one day I wanted to stand up. I had no strength and I fell down. I touched my belly here in the front and I could feel my backbone. That much, because there is no food, so many. So he could touch the backbone from front, from the belly. That much fasting he must have done it. I had no strength and I fell down. I touched my belly here in the front and I could feel my backbone. So weak I had become. Then the thought came to me, what a foolish thing I am doing. This body is the only instrument I have with. This body is the only instrument I have with which I can realize the highest truth. I am weakening it. I am doing something very wrong. No, I shall not do it. Then came that great message, the Madhya Panta, the middle path. Neither too much austerity nor too much sensory indulgence, but the middle path. Most of the time you have to devote yourself to spiritual practice. That is the Madhya Panta, which later on Buddha expounded to his 5 disciples at Sarnath in Benares after his enlightenment. The same idea comes here in the Gita. In a healthy spiritual life, there is no place for senseless mortification, for useless dry asceticism. You can hear the language of Sri Krishna in this connection. Moderation. Moderation in sleep, moderation in food, moderation in work. All 3 he prescribes. So anything more, body becomes weak, then capacity, receptivity also will become weak, less. You won't be able to grasp. The next chapter number 9, sloka number 30. 9th chapter, Vidya Rajaguhya. Chapter number 9, sloka number 30. So for having peace, so many things are explained, so many ways. Thirty. अपि चेत् सुदुराचारः भजते मामनन्यभाक् साधुरेव समन्तव्यः सम्यग्व्यवसितो हि सः. मंतव्यम सम्यक व्यवसितः हि सः. Okay. If even a very wicked person worships me with one-pointed devotion, wicked person worships me means the self, with one-pointed devotion, he or she should be regarded as good, for he or she has very rightly resolved, right decision they have taken. One-pointed devotion, even a wicked person, he should be considered as good. Even if a person is extremely wicked, sudurachara, durachara means wickedness. Sudurachara, perpetrator of extremely wicked deeds, even then bhajate mama nanyabhak. Bhajate mam ananya bhak. If such a person worships me with one-pointed devotion, sadhureva sa mantavyah, then he or she must be considered a sadhu only. That wicked person will be considered as sadhu. So what is important is one-pointedness, devotion towards God, exclusion of all other. He will consider him as sadhu, it seems. Even a person who has done so many sins, so many things and all, but still, if he had one-pointed devotion towards God, only God thought, exclusion of all other thoughts, he is considered as sadhu. He or she must be considered as good, samyak vyavasito hi saha, because he or she has resolved rightly. They have taken a right decision by becoming one-pointed devotee. They have taken a correct, right decision, it seems. Exclusion of all other thoughts, holding on to one thought of God throughout. God says that is the right decision. That person has decided to go closer to the divine because he or she has resolved rightly. That person has decided to go closer to the divine. Though that person was wicked, such a one is trying to be different hereafter. Earlier he has done it, now he wants to be, become better, good person, very good. Though that person was wicked, such a one is trying to be different hereafter. Apichet suduracharaha. Even if the person is extremely wicked, God is the purifier of everyone. The most sinful, the most wicked, all will be saved by the love of the divine. And many cases have been reported in our spiritual literature of how great sinners became saints by a touch of the divine. That is the beauty of bhakti. Very often a sinner becomes saintly, but society does not recognize it. Society will continue to hunt that sinner because society sees only that sinner. It does not see that change inside. The change has taken place inside, no? So they cannot see. Huh? Valmiki. So many examples are there. Valmiki was a hunter. So that is the theme in that famous French book by Victor Hugo, Les Miserables. A beautiful story of Jean Valjean, a thief who stole from a bishop's house many golden and silver items. He was being chased by the police. When he returned everything, the bishop had no anger against him. The bishop blessed him, saying, "It is yours, you take it." But the police took him to a criminal. The bishop had forgiven him, and the rest of his life was a play of this misunderstanding that he had become changed by the touch of the bishop, but the police did not recognize it. Society did not recognize it. So, Jean Valjean goes on constantly being shadowed by the police. Inspector Javert, one character, comes there. Very interesting story is the Les Miserables. So, here also the truth is very strongly put. Sadhurevacha sa mantravyaha. He or she must be considered as a sadhu only. But God is declaring sadhu. Because he has decided now we are changed. Inner change has taken place. Earlier he may be different. Samyak vyavasito hi saha. His or her mind has been well resolved to be good. The mind has been yoked to the divine. The past is finished, left behind. Now a new life has started. That is the great power of bhakti, love of God. So we should not think, oh, I have done so many things, how will I become a great devotee? Nothing to think. Just have a one-pointedness of the devotion, exclusion of all other thoughts. Throughout, God thoughts should run. So God is telling even wicked people he will liberate. They are considered as sadhu. Next is 31, next sloka. क्षिप्रं भवति धर्मात्मा शाश्वच्छान्तिं निगच्छति कौन्तेय प्रतिजानीहि न मे भक्तः प्रणश्यति. So much of assurance. Soon does he or she become righteous and attain eternal peace. O son of Kunti, boldly can you proclaim that my devotee will never be destroyed. A profound promise of Sri Krishna you get in this verse. Kshipram. Very soon, Bhavati Dharmatma. That person will become a Dharmatma, an ethical, moral person. Shashvat Shantim Nigachati. Very soon, he or she will get supreme peace of mind. That type of person also can become. So what is most important, what is he trying to stress is devotion. One-pointed devotion to God. That means our mind should have only one thought of God throughout, exclusion of all other thoughts. God thought should rule our mind. That is how Papa puts it. God thought should rule our mind. Sashva Shantim Nigachati. Very soon he or she will get supreme peace of mind. Then Shri Krishna turns to Arjuna and says, Kaunteya Pratijanani. Arjuna, make this promise to everyone. Name Bhakta Pranashyati. My devotee will not perish. You can take it for granted. It is the truth. Proclaim it from the housetops. That is what Sri Krishna is telling to Arjuna and to all else. Kaunteya Pratijanahi. In spite of being a criminal, in spite of doing so many bad things, devotion to the divine has brought a big change in the person. Devotion to the God has brought a great change. In spite of being a criminal, in spite of doing so many bad things, devotion to the divine has brought a big change in the person. And that change is a thorough change, not piecemeal. But it takes a little time for people to understand. A very Puritan society will judge the weaknesses of men and women with great harshness. But a bhakti-oriented society will never do so. Members of that society will have sympathy. Who knows, tomorrow he or she may change. In the New Testaments, you will find the story of the condemnation of a sinner only by other sinners. Saintly people never condemn sinners. That is the language. In the story of Jesus, you will find this. Where are your accusers? He asked a woman taken in adultery. They have gone away, sir, she replied. They did not find any fault with you? Jesus asked. She said, no, they did not, because you told them, he who had not done any sin, let him cast the first stone. Hearing this, one by one all melted away. Then Jesus said, so they have left you. I also say, I leave you. You are free, you can go and sin no more. That is the language. So many people know they want to throw stones at that lady. Then Jesus said, whoever has not done one sin also, then throw. Then they could not. They left. So how does a holy mind view human failings and weaknesses? With tremendous compassion, not in a harsh way. Generally, in all these orthodox societies, there is too much of that harsh judgment. Our own society is full of such harsh judgment. That is the type of a prudish society. But where there is real bhakti, there will never be that kind of harsh judgment. Today's sinner can become tomorrow's saint. Today's sinner can become tomorrow's saint, like Valmiki. Valmiki was a sinner, no, he was a hunter. He was killing people for his livelihood. But he became a great and greatest personality. As Dr. S. Radhakrishnan used to say, behind every saint there was a sinner, and in front of every sinner there is a saint. Behind every saint there was a sinner, and in front of every sinner there is a saint. Beautiful way of putting. So let us not forget that these are all changeable. Nothing is fixed, as it were. This we should constantly remember. That's why we should not judge anybody. We should not simply say anything to anybody just by outer this seeing, because inner we don't know. In Karachi, in Pakistan, I saw a sentence written on the table of a newspaper editor. There is so much good in the worst of us. There is so much good in worst of us, and so much bad in the best of us, that it will behove any of us to speak ill of the rest of us. So we should never speak ill of anybody, however they will be. whatever they are. That impressed me. A society which does not judge human weaknesses very harshly is a healthy society. A society which does not judge human weaknesses very harshly is a healthy society. Weakness is there, it will come, but show sympathy. That is what the world needs. The world needs sympathy, not harsh judgment. That is possible in a society where bhakti is current coin. Today or tomorrow, people can become devotees of God. They will never judge harshly any human weaknesses. They will make people aware that there are people here to help you. So beautiful, no? They will make people aware that there are people here to help you. What a beautiful idea. Not throwing a man or woman down because he or she has some weakness. The whole society tells you, we are here to help you. That is a healthy society. We never had it for several centuries. Extremely harsh has been our society. That has to change. When pure religion will come, that change will come. That humanist feeling will come. Human response to human situations will come. Here Sri Krishna says, my devotee will not perish. Girish Chandra Ghosh was a drunkard and a great dramatist, and he had confessed all the evils of the world he had done. But Sri Ramakrishna loved him immensely. In spite of all these, he could see genius and goodness in that person and had infinite faith in Girish Chandra Ghosh. Even Vinoba says, no human being is created without at least one good quality. So look for that good quality in the person. Instead of seeing faults, instead of seeing other things, no human being is created by God without at least one good quality in him. Definitely it will be. So focus on that. Girish himself did not have so much faith in himself as Sri Ramakrishna had in him. And eventually, Girish became a saint. And he said, this is the miracle of Sri Ramakrishna. He never asked me to give up this or that evil. He stimulated the positive element in me, and I have become completely transformed. That is the greatness of a saint. That's why Papa, Mataji, Swamiji, all they say, saints darshan. Never miss it. He never asked me to give up this or that evil. He stimulated the positive element in me, and I have become completely transformed. That is the story of Girish Chandra Ghosh. Even girls acting in Girish Ghosh theatre in those days were all treated as low-class women. There also Sri Ramakrishna blessed the good actresses. Slowly their lives changed, and later on one of them wrote a book on how her life was changed by the blessings of Sri Ramakrishna. So, this is an incident of our own times. It's not a Purana. It is Sri Ramakrishna. This now, no? We have plenty of such stories coming to us from olden days in our Puranas. It is good for us to know this truth conveyed by Sri Krishna. Kaunteya pratijanahi name bhakta pranashyati. Then, so my devotee will not perish. That is the assurance Lord is giving. Next is 12th chapter, chapter number 12. So time is over. Okay, we will continue tomorrow. So tomorrow we should go to 12th chapter on peace. So many insights, so many insights. All glory to Him. He is facilitating so many things. So now we can leave all that, I am a sinner, I don't know. Only thing what he wants is one-pointed devotion. Bhakti. Hari Om, pranams to you all. Hari Om. Om Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Om Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Om Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Hari Om, pranams to you all. Hari Om.